It's the thing, you'd have to be a seismic instrument to actually feel these ones, but they are there. They occur at all depths, some of them quite deep, some of them quite shallow, and I was actually in conversation with one of your colleagues from the geology department about them and about the location of them and where these fault structures go. It's been fantastic. So my area of expertise is immunology, in other words, the study of the immune system, but most particularly in disease. So, the disease I've been focusing on is an autoimmune disease, and it's called lupus, and lupus is basically, to explain, simply, it's a disease whereby the immune system, for whatever reason, is turning against a person. So an immune system is designed to fight infection. It's designed to fight cancer, but in patients with lupus, the immune system for a very strange reason is attacking the normal tissue of the patient. I will try to have the practice. After class ends, if you want to continue the discussion, you have some questions that occurred to you towards the end, didn't have a chance to share them with the class as a whole. I will, on a normal day, meet outside and continue to talk with however many of you want to do that until you're done. These studies that are going on at the moment, but the latest one, which is, I find really exciting, is working with family carers of people living with dementia. And we're actually showing the family carers how to use music in really strategic ways to support the care of the person that they're looking after. But we're also interested in preserving the relationship between the carer and the person that they're caring for, because one of the challenges for carers is that when they're caring for someone and that person starts to forget who they are and stops recognizing them, the person with dementia doesn't give anything back. So, using music in a way that helps to bring that person to the present. Many environmentalists and renewable energy advocates hope that they'll help turn the tide against climate change and lessen our dependence on foreign oil. But will electric cars meet these lofty expectations? Cyan is currently an assistant professor at Spear, says maybe because the environmental benefits of electric cars depend in part on the source of the electricity used to charge them. It's been interesting because in the last week or so, there's been quite a bit of media kerfuffle about the topic of indigenous science. What is indigenous science? How does it relate to Western science? Can we even put them on the same level? Is it political correctness gone mad? Am I just another social justice warrior interested in pushing a culture war, you know? Funny for a white American astrophysicist to be accused of that. My own neighborhood was a pretty good example of where the reporters of the area came from. I live next door to a cop. There was a fireman across the street. And the most important, the most awesome figure in the neighborhood worked at City Hall as a doorman. It was a working class, middle class neighborhood, and that's where the reporters came from. I want to delve deeper into the world of the molecules because that's where you do your work. Your specialty is protein assemblies. You look at the way DNA repairs itself, and this is all happening at the level of the cell, at the level of molecules and, of course, proteins. So you've buried yourself into what they call structural biology. Well, it's a contested concept, and like many contested concepts, I think you can identify an agreed upon core and then a sort of contested penumbra. I think that perhaps the agreed upon core might be this: it's something held at once by academics and by academic institutions, and it is something like a privilege of freedom in the way in which the conduct of teaching and research is undertaken. What we knew was that paper had been invented in China, and we knew that paper had been made in Europe from the late Middle Ages, and then, but we didn't realize no one had really studied what happened in between. So, what I did was I started looking at what happened to paper between its invention in China and its introduction into Europe and use for. That's how I got interested.